sinners and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Alan After Dark.
Recently, I was called a loudmouth, self-indulgent, narcissistic, whiny little bitch. And I was like, wow, that took some effort to get an insult like that. I was so appreciative. Hopefully that'll lead some of you to listen to me even more. I mean, I have my doubts, but it's all good. Oh, Lord, I just wish everybody could take an insult as well as I can. Wow, that was egotistical, wasn't it? Maybe I am a sociopath. Who'd have guessed? How you doing, sinners and saints, bitches, whores, sluts, skanks, pole smokers, butt lickers, ass munchers, toe suckers, finger bingers, mango eaters? Jesus, I keep running out of words, don't I? I have to tell you this. I am in a mood tonight. I am going to hit that club and I am going to shake my booty. Well, you don't have to be that scared. Jesus. I really wish we could go back to the golden age of clubs around here. I miss the dance clubs. I miss all that wild, crazy fun. But, of course, I have to acknowledge that partly because of my age, I couldn't keep up anyway. That sounds so pathetically pathetic. I am in a mood, right? I just miss the camaraderie. I just miss how the gay community was more united then. At least it felt more united. I could have blinders on, and I do believe that all of us romanticize the past more greatly and see it from a different perspective. Looking back, we think that it was a lot better than it probably actually was. And it might just be a desperate attempt to recapture my youth, which... does that surprise anybody? Nah. I hate being insulted by people who say that I should act my age. How do you act an age that you can't define? What defines an age? Honestly, am I supposed to be walking around with a cane or a walker or in a wheelchair or moaning that my back is hurting? Even though it is. I hate those kinds of stereotypes. I don't give a shit if you are 60 or 65 or 70 or 80. If you want to act like a 20-year-old, act like one. Jesus. It's nobody else's fucking business, right? Oh, God. I don't want to be on a soapbox again, but you know what? I'm pissed off. You know what, though? I'm always pissed off, aren't I? Did you all hear about this case in New Orleans? His name was Mark Richards. He was in his 60s, and he was a music teacher at a Catholic school. Apparently, some parents discovered an obituary, which happened to be Mark's deceased husband, that acknowledged him as his husband. They reported him to the school, and the school fired him for being gay. All because of an obituary. And I keep thinking, the Roman Catholics, Jesus, they're going to judge a gay man who was married to his husband, who was teaching music, as somebody immoral when they go around moving pedophile priests from one place to the other to cover it up and paying off people to keep them quiet. Yeah, kind of hard for that church to really be throwing stones, don't you think? What do you expect, right? I should think nothing less of a church who claims to be moral, but they're nothing but cold boogers on a paper plate. And don't ask me what that means. It just come out of my mouth. Wow. That sounded bitchy too, didn't it? And we've already started, not even 5 minutes in, and I'm all over the place. It could be that shot I did to get myself going. It might be a gummy or two. It could be just flat out exhaustion, for all I know. But all I know is that here we are again, and we're chatting and having some fun. And I hope you're enjoying this so far, which is a stupid thing to say because it must mean that I have nothing to say, which is probably true because I've been dicked up all week. Or is it dick down? Well, whatever. And not in a good way, okay? Just not in a good way. I just don't know what road or path I'm taking right now to make me feel like I've got direction other than a downward spiral that all of us in the United States seem to be in right now. Oh God, it's just, I never thought I would live in a country that resembles Nazi Germany. I mean, what the fuck? I just need to get dick down in a good way. I'm anticipating some hot men's up in the bar tonight, way beyond happy hour, and who knows what might happen. Mark, if you're listening, I have to wonder what you did with that guy last night. I hope you got that. You seem to have a lot of chemistry. I just felt kind of bad sitting in between you. That wasn't intentional, by the way. I was there first, okay? So just remember that. As I'm moonwalking down the sidewalk of life with potholes in the road and flash flooding everywhere and ICE knocking on doors and arresting Americans who just seem to disappear into thin air and wind up in El Salvador, I have to wonder what's going to happen to me. I guess you could say that I really am truly in a midlife crisis, and I have this feeling I'm in for big changes, even though that's probably a ridiculous thing to say because all of us are in for big changes. But I've been thinking very seriously about moving away from Tennessee, but I've whined about that before too. It's looking more and more like a lot of us are going to have to move to safer places, both for our well-being, physically and financially. I just feel like we're careening toward absolute destruction. And you know what? We probably deserve it. We're a bunch of damn hypocrites, aren't we? Oh, I need to go find a glory hole. Something, Jesus. I'd probably run into a couple of priests there, wouldn't I? It would be laughable if it wasn't so sad how gay people are treated. I'm sure that Mark Richards, the music teacher at the Catholic school that they fired for moral reasons, I would be willing to bet you money that he was faithful to his husband up until his husband's death. How many people in that church can say that? How many priests are actually safe to leave your children with unattended? Would anybody leave their children with a priest? I highly doubt it. I mean, I wouldn't, for God's sake. I wouldn't leave my nephews and nieces with a fucking priest. I don't think you could trust them as far as you could throw them. Definitely not as hard as you could blow them. Now, don't get me wrong. If a priest wants to do it with me, an adult, let's have at it, bitch. I'm all for that. But you touching kids, motherfucker, you nothing but skank. You skanky scum. And I know you probably would fit right in the South down here where cousins are fucking each other and the average age of a married couple is probably 13. But Jesus. Oh, that was facetious, but I'm in that kind of mood. Doesn't this sound like the worst episode of Alan After Dark ever? I believe it probably is. So bear with me as I get my car back on the road. I really wish I could believe the best in people, but I always believe the worst in people. Don't you all? Don't you? For me to trust someone, I have to ask myself right now, do I trust anybody? Is there anybody I could truly trust with my life? I don't want anybody to be insulted by that, but think about it. I know that I couldn't trust most of my family. I know my mom and my dad would take care of me if I was in a bad accident and I was physically disabled or something like that. Did I ever tell you about the time at the gym there was an adult man who was significantly physically and mentally disabled? He was always at the gym with his parents and he could only do certain things. And it was probably an outlet for him just to have experience of other people being around. They would bring him into the pool and he would move around in the water. I can see him right now in my mind. I can envision him with his mom and his dad there. And I started thinking, the last time I saw them, I figured that the mom and dad were in their 70s. And he was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, but could not communicate verbally and had what I would guess is the mind of someone under the age of 2 or 3. And I thought, what happens to him when his parents die? Will other relatives take him? Are other relatives under any obligation to take him under their wing and be the responsible people for his well-being, his safety? That's one hell of a responsibility. And I respect everybody who is capable of taking care of someone in such need. You all are the best in the world. But I know a lot of people can't. They are unable to. You're asking people to sacrifice everything in their life for this person. And that might sound selfish. And I know there's finger pointing going on, like, well, it's not our fault that he is disabled. It's not my responsibility. But then what happens to him? My guess would be is that he might wind up in a home somewhere, but with all the federal and state cuts to budgets, my guess is he would wind up on the streets and wouldn't survive 2 or 3 days. That's horrific. That's beyond belief. But that's a reality in the good old USA, especially in a place like Tennessee. I was dating a guy, let's call him Nick. We were in that conversation where the relationship was falling apart, and I was really hurt. I was devastated. I had genuine love for him. And in frustration, I just asked. I said, if you were in a car accident and you were paralyzed, you couldn't walk, who would take care of you? Without hesitation, he said, well, you would. And I said back, doesn't that count for something? Doesn't that matter? Doesn't that prove my feelings for you? And while it might have proved my feelings, it didn't matter. That was it. We broke up. And that's what I'm getting at about trust. If you are in a position like that, if you were disabled or unable to take care of yourself, I have trouble thinking that there's anybody that would be willing to take care of me. I told you all before, I had, it's been about, 10 or 11 years ago, I had major surgery, and it was the most vulnerable I've ever felt in my life. I was so anxious to get out of the hospital, and I get home with the notion that the guy I was seeing was going to come over and help take care of me just for little things, nothing major, helping me with getting food and things like that. And I was expecting him on the following day when I got back home, and he just didn't show up. I had to get myself up and go get me something that I could eat because I had nothing in the house that was on the special diet I had to have for a couple of weeks. He was supposed to bring me some things that I could eat, and he didn't. And I just what am I going to do? And I was so scared. I was just so vulnerable, like I said. And I did go and get me some things that I could eat, and it hurt. I think that was more of it. It wasn't so much that I was scared. It was that I was depending upon this person, and he wasn't there for me. Now, he did come the next day and said, I just had too many things to do yesterday, so here's the food. Yay. And I was grateful. I was. But you didn't even bother to communicate with me to say, hey, I can't make it today, so you're going to kind of be on your own. And, well, anyway, he lives in another city. We don't speak to each other anymore. And I know I'm basing all of my trust issues on all my past experiences. But if you don't learn from your mistakes and you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. So forgive me if I am quite a bit on the cynical side when it comes to people and their honesty toward you or toward me. But on the flip side, I was leaving the bar one night. It was during football season, and I was rear-ended at a traffic light. No, not in a good way, bitches. An SUV slammed into the back of my car, hitting me so hard that even with my brake applied, I slammed into the car in front of me. My car was totaled. I had two great friends who come right down there, picked me up, and got me to my house without hesitation. They were great. Jeremy, Jimmy, I still appreciate that. But that's the difference too, isn't it? Friends versus a boyfriend or a husband, right? It's amazing that as friends, I think we all make sacrifices for each other. Why doesn't that carry over? At least for me, it hasn't. the ones that I had as boyfriends? And I know what the answer is. You're all going to tell me, right? You just had really bad taste in boyfriends. You had poor judgment, right? And you're right. That's absolutely true. Because if it was good judgment, I'd still be with one of them, wouldn't I? It would have worked out. I was just amazed that during that time frame that I was able to have feelings for two different guys. You know, I've only had deep, deep, true feelings of love in my life. One, two, well, for three people in my life. And all three of them dumped me. What the fuck, bitches? Seriously? You dipped your toes in the lake known as Allen, and that wasn't good enough for you? Do you realize how many guys want to get with this? All of this, bitches? I guess not. I guess that description I mentioned at the beginning of the show really is accurate, isn't it? I am a whiny little bitch. Oh, God. At least I can talk about dick and not be embarrassed. Maybe that's part of the problem, too. You know, I was mentioning my exes and everything. I think the ones that are born and raised here in the South, I do believe that it's embedded in us to believe that two men can have feelings for each other that are loving or emotional. I think that that's the part that we feel could be the sinful part. Honestly, I think the belief is that if you're the top and you're fucking a guy, you're okay. But if you're at the bottom, you're the little bitch that's going to hell. I think that's why men who are victims of sexual violence, of rape, they don't come forward because you are mocked. You're treated as less than a man if that happened to you. That you remember, what was his name? Don Lemon from CNN. He's gay, but he had made that horrendous comment about sexual assault with women, saying that if a guy put his penis in their mouth, they should just bite it off. He totally doesn't get the idea of sexual assault and violence. It's like if you get a chance and you're in and you have Netflix, watch the or is it? Yeah, it's Netflix, isn't it? There's a documentary about Ohio State's wrestling team, all the wrestlers that have been molested by their doctor. And they explain it in a terrific way that gives you an idea of how it happened. Because a lot of them were afraid to come forward because they were insulted. People were criticizing them. Like, you're big, badass wrestlers, and this happened to you? It wouldn't happen to me. But if you see how the doctor did it, yeah, it could have easily happened to you. And it may have without you even realizing it, you little bitches that criticize Jesus. But that's the shaming part, right? I told you, you know, one of the first episodes of Allen After Dark, there was a guy I worked with, and we were driving around, and he was getting fucked up. He was drinking beer, and he was wasted. And out of the blue, he talked about his girlfriend, and they were fucking, and his girlfriend stuck her finger up his ass. And he said, it felt so good, but I could never tell my dad that because my dad said that if you are a man and you take anything up your ass, you're not a man. You're a faggot. And I was like, I wonder why you felt that you could tell that to me. I mean, yeah, he was drunk off his balls, but still, I wonder if he secretly knew that I was gay and was testing that water. But anyway. Once again, that's a stereotype. And what makes me laugh is that most of the straight girlfriends that I have over the years, they have confided in me that their husbands lack a finger in their ass. Oh, the secrets we keep behind closed doors. Well, until happy hour and your wife has too much to drink, then it's no longer a secret. Whew, Lord, what an episode, I gotta tell you. I hope you all have had fun. You've enjoyed yourself. Maybe you've got a tingle in your private areas, in your bouncy balls, or your twatamala. At least you got a chuckle out of something from this episode. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just sounding stupid. But you know, as always, remember, take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.